My name is Cameron Holder. I am the head of indirect procurement for Nando's UK, and I'm also Nando's global equipment buyer. We started in South Africa in 1987, grown to 1,300 restaurants across 24 countries around the world. Our food, style and cooking comes from Mozambique. It's Afro-Portuguese chicken chips with a really spicy element. We're still privately owned, so as we expand, we're not only just looking at the experience of the food, but also how we can use our restaurants to impact our local communities. We've worked with Rationale for 25 years now, and I like to think we've helped influence how the ovens are designed. They've certainly helped us change the way that we cook our product to the point where we have a Rationale oven in every single Nando's across the world. We don't specify any other piece of equipment. We can do things now that we couldn't even do 10 years ago through a really precise cooking program that takes a lot of the decision making that a chef would normally have to do away from the person who has to cook, to create a completely consistent product with people who haven't been trained as chefs. We typically take on people and it's their first job. It must be up and running at all times. We've always been very interested in the capabilities that Connected Cooking has to improve our maintenance system. We can spot the faults and then go in and dial in remotely to fix many of them. And we've managed to reduce the amount of times we have to send an engineer out to our restaurants by 35% through remote monitoring. So it's been tremendously successful. In markets like Australia and South Africa, which are very big countries, to have an engineer drive 4 hours out to one of our restaurants and not have the parts in the van is a big problem. And if the oven fault can be diagnosed before so he has the correct parts in the van, that's incredibly valuable. We think this year in the UK we're not only going to save 35% of our call out fees, but 10,000 hours worth of downtime on our ovens. We do regularly deploy new cooking programs onto our ovens. We know that the next time we do it, we can do it centrally and instantly without having to send out engineers. Our food teams have created alternative chicken cooking programs, and they can do wide-scale trials through Connected Cooking to tweak the oven programs and then test them against each other to see which produce the best chicken over the long run. So this has enabled us to play with menu development in a way that we just couldn't do before because it was too expensive and the rollout of the programs would have been too slow. We're already finding some really interesting applications, like we can actively follow up any customer complaints, immediately dial into the ovens and see if there was anything unusual about the cooking programs. And this is based on the HACCP data, which analyzes for our restaurant managers how they're using the ovens and offers them intelligent suggestions on how they can improve the usage of the ovens. Rationale supports us in so many different ways, from our menu development ideas to the support deploying Connected Cooking. Every now and again we develop restaurants with very specific needs and have to go back and say, well, do you have an oven that can do this or fit into a certain space? Rationale have always been fantastic at really getting to the bottom of what we're asking and giving us support and answers that were genuinely helpful so we could move forward, and that's why we still work with them.